Other news worth your attention, no doubt. Disruptions to Joburg's Metrobus service expected from today, when a number of employees embark on a planned strike. Metrobus says it will ensure that the impact of the strike itself by members or workers affiliated to Demawusa is minimal, but thousands of commuters, of course, can still be affected. Workers are demanding a salary increase of about 18%, a COVID-19 danger allowance, and the adjustment of salary disparities. For an insight on how this is all likely to unfold, let's bring in Demawusa Deputy Secretary General Dion Makura, who joins us now via our video link. Dion, thanks very much for your time. It's great to chat to you. Perhaps let's begin by taking stock of how the strike is going so far. My understanding is that it was meant to begin at around 5 a.m. this morning?
Yes, the strike will begin at 5. What I can tell you now is that there's one depot, I think the Melpark depot and Rodiport are operational, but I think it's less than 50% each depot. But there is one also big depot in Village Main depot is not operational.
Yeah. Perhaps it's just worth us just jumping straight into your demands themselves. I'm going to try get to a page where they listed and speak about the ones that certainly stood out for me for various reasons. So I already mentioned the 18% salary increase. That's the one. You're also demanding a 14th check, all employees to be paid this every year, you say. There's a demand for transport allowance, 150 Rand per day for employees who do not have a staff bus. This is over and above the salary increase itself. There's also a call for COVID-19 allowance, right? Demanding that all employees who are working during COVID-19 be paid a once-off payment of 15,000 Rand, and those who are not working or were not exposed to COVID-19 to be paid 8,000 Rand once off. All of this in the midst of a global health crisis. Some people might say it's pushing the envelope slightly.
We must understand that the issue of, we consider the issue of this crisis, the overall crisis of COVID-19. But what we must bear in mind is that if there are leadership in a company, obviously strategic decisions have to be made to accommodate this crisis. Hence, we are saying Metrobus, let's sit down and talk about these increases. Where they can't make it, they can't make it. Where it's possible, it must be possible. So the difficult part is that you place a demand for the past 6 months, nobody respond to you. You put as a union 18% salary increase, nobody is responding to you. I think it would be fair if they say, no, listen here, the 18% we can't. The issue of the transport, we will try to add another bus for the staff bus. Or maybe this is the plan where we are. Because they are obliged by law to say anybody who start working before 6 and anybody who knock off after 6, the Basic Condition of Employment Act oblige them to transport those employees from their homes. So we are saying, find us halfway. And the people are keeping quiet for the past 4 months.
So is the contention here, so far as you're concerned, not the fact that these demands are flat out being refused, but the fact that you actually are not getting any response at all?
Yes, remember, they might come and say, listen here, we have only 0.5115%. So parties start to engage.
Yes. Right. Has there been any response from them since your strike has commenced?
No, then we didn't get any response because last week we were busy about the picketing rules, which we end up agreeing on the picketing rules on Saturday night. But where we are sitting now, I was trying to call some of their executive, especially the Labor Relation Department. I just want to find out whether I was sitting today or there's this element of resistance to talk to us.
Yeah. Speak to me about the long-term plan. The real fear, of course, is that part of an unintended consequence of an indefinite strike is that it causes so much damage to the institution itself that it simply can't absorb all the workers anymore. How are you going to shield against that?
No, remember, that's why we are saying that it's like there's no leadership there. Because all of us, we know that there are consequences. Remember, even those workers who are withdrawing their labor, they are going to be affected about the issue of salaries and so on and so on. So where there is leadership, obviously, that have to be taken into consideration as leaders, and make sure that maybe within the week the strike is over. And we are waiting 24/7 for the employer to say, let's sit down and deal with those issues. Obviously, 28 demand, we are not going to finish or finalize those demands. Obviously, somewhere, somehow, there will be processes. If we can look at the demand, I think around about 7 to 10 demand, that the demand for investigation. You can't just say, we investigate now. You create a process, the process of investigation unfolds, and then there will be other issues. I know, let's go and check the budget, or let's go to the city of Johannesburg as the main shareholder and look whether we are going to be able to get any funds. And if there's no fund, there will be no fund. And as parties, we have to find a way how do we deal with those consequences. But our prayer is that, or our view is that this strike might not have to take a week or 2 weeks. We have to find a solution.
So the sense I'm getting from you is all it takes for the strike to be called off is just for the employer to agree to start negotiations.
Yes, but it must not be just for the sake of negotiation. There must be willingness to resolve issues of workers. And then from there, obviously, it's a give and take situation. We might give in some of the issues, and also they must be seen as responding to the issues which we are raising.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go next. What of these 28 demands, or which of these 28 demands are non-negotiable for you?
In one critical demand which are non-negotiable is the one of salary disparity. And I will tell you why. You have a mechanic. I've been trying to deal with that issue for the past 3 years, 2 to 3 years. A mechanic was hired from Ekurhuleni. That mechanic was not fixing buses, was fixing small cars. Employed at Metrobus as a mechanic, as a bus mechanic, as a diesel mechanic. He's a petrol mechanic, now he's given bus mechanic. When you look at his qualification and his trade test, he's just done his trade test recently. You have mechanics who have been in Metrobus who have trade test a long time ago, around about 15 years ago, who have more experience in fixing buses. But that new mechanic is earning, I think, around about 7,000 to 8,000 above those other mechanics which were employed 15 years ago. And we raised that issue for the past 3 years. We were fighting, and we are told that no, you rather go to court and to deal with that particular issue. So that we are not going to negotiate. We are saying that salary disparity have to be dealt with, because there's no reason why you have to give somebody who have less experience more money than the person who have more experience. That one we are not going to negotiate. It's a non-negotiable.
Help me understand. Please go ahead. Sorry.
The second issue which we don't want to negotiate it, because we have raised this. We are saying that there are people who have been dismissed from 2016 to date. We are saying those people have to be reinstated. And the reason is very simple. I think we have mentioned many cases where you find that a manager has assaulted a driver, nothing is done. Those who are connected to the executive or managers, they are not charged. And we are saying because it's Banana Republic, then that means everybody must not be charged. Because those who are connected to the managers, they are not charged. Recently, I think last week from Thursday until last week Wednesday, there were employees from some who were in an illegal strike. So you can't have a company where people go for illegal strike for more than 6 days and nothing happened. You don't remind him what you do. You enter into agreement with those people because they are connected to you. So we can't allow that. So we are saying if it's Banana Republic, it has to be open to everybody, or we have to start charging those who have misconducted. If they have to be dismissed, let them face the consequences.
Help me connect the dots here, Dion, if you can. The demand for an adjustment of salary disparity, how does that link to the implementation of the three-band salary structure? In my mind, one is contained within the other, but I see you've listed it as separate demands.
Yeah, the issue here, in Metrobus, they used to pay people like what is called salary progression. Obviously, there will be an entrance band for those who are arriving. There will be a mid band. There will be a maximum band. It's a principle, is there, it's signed. It's an agreement. But now, if they are no longer following that principle, therefore it means that everybody have to be shifted to the higher salary. If, let's say, for drivers, the highest driver is paid 20,000, that means we have to take all these drivers and put them at 20,000. And from there, we have again to create this salary band for three. That means now, after we put them in that 20,000, we have now again to sit down to say, in terms of number of years, what is that we have to do? And that is what we are meaning about the three band. That means it's going back again to the three band, but that means the entrance will be 20,000. Because it's them who have created that problem, taking people who doesn't qualify the highest salary and put them at the highest salary. Some of the salary are not even within the bracket. They are above that bracket. So we are saying it's your own doing, take everybody to the highest salary in that particular band, and let's start again engage to say, how do we differentiate them in terms of number of years?
Yeah, tell you what, the city of Joburg, as well as the union, certainly has its work cut out for them. Thanks very much for outlining these as best as you can. There's an invested interest, of course, in seeing the end to the strike, so we'll certainly keep watching the story. But